this isn't the same as yesterday. This is part 2. And this is really more for planners and creatives, mainly for creatives. But what this will be is this will be about what happens is the language. We need 2 languages. I did a pitch once, and it was for a supermarket. And the chief exec I was with, Mike Greenies, we were pitching on Morrison's, and we said to the guy that owned Morrison's, I didn't say anything because the language that they speak in these meetings isn't my language. It's marketing language, which is a language no one outside marketing speaks. And in the real world, I speak the language of the real world, the language bus drivers, taxi drivers, shop assistants, housewives speak, monosyllables. They speak jargon in marketing. So I just sit there and take notes, and later on I ask what those words mean. And in the middle of the meeting, Mike had said to the guy that owned the company, he said, I see what your problem is. In order to increase profits, you need to optimize your on-shelf margins. And the guy who owned the company said, exactly, you've understood it, you've put your finger on my problem. And we walked out with the account. We won the account because Mike had said to him, in order to increase profits, you need to optimize your on-shelf margins. Now, when we got in the car park, I said to Mike, what did that mean, in order to increase profits, you need to optimize your on-shelf margins? And Mike said, well, it's not difficult, is it? Increase profits, you know what that means. Optimize your on-shelf margins, that's the difference between what you buy it at and what you sell it at. So optimize it means, I think it means, basically it means if you can sell it cheaper, people will buy more. And I said, well, why didn't you say that to him? And Mike said, well, he wouldn't have given us the business, would he? We have to sound like we know something nobody else knows, and how we do that is put it into jargon and complicated marketing language. So in order to, we don't say, if I'd have gone and said to him, here, Squire, if you make it cheaper, people will buy more, he wouldn't have given us the business. But if I say to him, in order to increase profits, you need to optimize your on-shelf margins, we sound like experts. So that's marketing language. Now, when you talk to creatives, that language means nothing. That could be Russian. We talk the language that people on the streets talk, because that's who we have to talk to. So our language is make it cheaper and people will buy more. So how do we translate optimize your on-shelf margins into make it cheaper and people will buy more? We need a language that planners can translate into the language that we use. Yeah? So basically, if you think of it this way, this is strategy, planners, account men, marketing here, and this is all of their language and all of their thinking, and it has to be distilled right down to a really, really simple thought that creatives can understand, which they can then take and amplify out to do ads from. So all of this thinking has to be distilled down and down and down into a really, really simple thought. Now that's very difficult for marketing. They don't like to distill things down. So you need a strategy, you need a device for getting them to distill things down. Because if you can distill things down to a point that's simple enough for creatives to understand, they can then put that into the ads. Then when the ads come back, planning can check that the ads say what the ads are supposed to say. Currently, you'll get a brief and it will say, we want to do market growth. We want to do branding. We want to do trialists. We want to do market share. We want to do product benefits. And we want to do current users. That's who we want to talk to. Well, of course you do. You want to talk to everybody on the planet. I know that, but that's not going to work. You haven't got enough money. So who can you talk to? You've got to... You know the old cliche, if I throw you 9 oranges, how many can you catch? And the answer is probably, if you're lucky, 1. Now, pretty much, it might not be the one I wanted you to catch. The odds are 8 to 1, it won't be. So what I should have done was decide beforehand which is the orange I wanted you to catch and only throw you that. That's what strategy should be about. Not throwing you 9, because that's my job done, and now it's your problem. No, all that means is you won't catch any. That's a waste of money. So you cannot do this lot. It won't work. You'll put it all in the advertising. It won't get seen. It'll be part of the 17 billion quid that's wasted every year. Remember, 4%, remember, if you were here yesterday, 4% remember positively, 7% remembered negatively, 89% not noticed or remembered. This is why 89% isn't noticed or remembered. Because it doesn't have clarity, it doesn't have simplicity, so it doesn't have power. And strategy is sacrifice. So how do we work that out? Okay, we work out which of these you can do, which oranges must you throw. After you've wasted your money, which will you have wished you'd done? Okay, so we have to ask the questions in order. And how we ask the questions, you have to choose each time between what's critical. And this is a communication brief, remember, not a marketing brief. This is planners talking to creative. This is a communication brief, not a marketing brief. So, first question, do you want market growth or do you want market share? So, market growth or market share? First question. You can have one of those, you can't have both. Once you made that choice, do you want trialists or do you want current users? Trialists or current users? Once you made that choice, do you want branding or do you want product benefits? Branding or product benefits? Okay, so that gives you a choice of 8 briefs. You're never going to need more than 8 briefs. That won't give you the perfect answer, but it will force you to have the discussion. It looks complicated, but it's not, because it's always only a choice between 2 things. And immediately you choose one. If you choose market share, well, now it's only 50%. If you choose current users, well, now it's only 50% of that. And if you choose product benefits, well, now it's not complicated at all. Now, the brief you give to creatives is market share, current users, product benefits. So, although that's what's open to you, it's actually a map. It's a really simple way through all of that complexity of verbiage that we saw, that was just a lot of waffle and means nothing. That's a really simple map through it. If you're, for instance, if you're Coca-Cola, what are you going for? Market growth or market share? Well, everybody in the world's tried Coca-Cola, so market share is no good. You're going for market growth. But if you're Pepsi, are you going for market growth or market share? Well, if you're Pepsi, you're only number 2. So you're going for market share. This is the first, and this is a communications brief, remember. In communications terms, every market is like this. You're either product A or you're product B. You either own the market or you don't. If you own the market, it doesn't make sense to spend all your money getting a little bit of share from whoever's number 2. If you own the market, it makes sense to spend all your money growing the market, because even if they don't remember your name, you get that much share of any growth. So if you own the market, if you're Coca-Cola, all you do is sell cola, and they will automatically, you will get most share. If you don't own the market, if you're Pepsi, it doesn't make sense to do that because cola gets most share. If you're Pepsi, it makes sense to take share from Coke. That's why years back, Coca-Cola did, I'd like to buy the world of Coke. Talking to current users, instead of saying try Coke, they're saying don't just have one yourself, buy one for a friend. So they're doing market growth, current users, brand. But Pepsi are only here. So they've got to do brand share, market share, and they thought they had proof that 7 out of 10 people preferred the taste of Pepsi, so they did market share trialists and product. They did the Pepsi challenge. Yeah? Now let me show you that in practice, how that works. I've got some American ads here that you won't have seen before. And one by one, we'll talk about how they work. So the first one I'm going to show you is Apple. When Steve Jobs had been fired by Apple, and Apple was in a mess, and about to go out of business, and it got rescued, and then Steve Jobs came back to Apple, and he had nothing to say. He had no product, and Apple was nearly dead, and he had to just keep it alive long enough for them to make new product. So what Steve Jobs had to do with Apple was market share. Obviously, he can't do market growth because Microsoft in those days owned the market. So he did market share, and no point in doing trialists because he had nothing new to sell. He had to just protect what he's got. So he did market share, current users, and he didn't have any new product. So he did branding. Market share, current users, branding. When he came back, he had nothing to say, so this was the ad he ran.
Here's to the crazy ones. The misfits. The rebels. The troublemakers. The round pegs in the square holes. The ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Okay, so that was Steve Jobs' market share, protecting it, who his current users were, just talking to people who currently had Macs, and going for brand, not product, saying if you've got a Mac, you're creative. So market share, current users, brand. After a year or so, he's created new products at Mac, and the new products are really good, and the new products are now working, and now he's ready to take on Microsoft. So now his new campaign is market share now, but it's not current users anymore, now it's trialists, and it's not brand anymore, now it's product. So the new campaign is market share, trialists, product. And I'll just show you he did about 70 commercials like this, but I'll just show you the 3 of them.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC.
Action! 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 Gesundheit, you okay?
No, I'm not okay. I have that virus that's going around.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, you better stay back. This one's a doozy.
That's okay, I'll be fine.
No, do not be a hero. Last year, there were 114,000 known viruses for PCs.
PCs, not Macs. So you just grab this one.
I think I got a crash.
Okay, if you feel like that'll help, good. Hello, I'm a Mac.
Hello, I'm a PC.
We have a lot in common these days.
We both run Microsoft Office. We share files. It's great. We just get along.
PC. Yep. Okay.
Hi, I'm a PC.
Okay, we're past that. We moved beyond that.
Yeah, I had to restart there. You know how it is.
No, actually, I don't.
Oh, what? Macs don't have to.
We had him, then we lost him. I'm gonna go get IT. Keep an eye on him. Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC.
I'm into doing fun stuff like movies, music, podcasts, stuff like that.
I also do fun stuff like timesheets and spreadsheets and pie charts.
Okay, no, by fun, I mean more in terms of, for example, it'd be kind of hard to capture a family vacation, say, with a pie chart, you know?
Not true.
Oh?
For example, this light gray area could represent hangout time, whereas this dark gray area could represent just kicking it.
Yeah, no, I feel like I was there.
Thanks. Okay, you see the difference between the branding one he did first off when he had nothing to say, market share, current users, branding, and then when he's actually got something to say, after a year or two he's actually built stuff, market share, try list, product, yeah? So when planning reduces it down like that, strategy reduces it down to be usable for creative can then write something powerful that communicates, which strategy can then check, is all that in the work we're looking at? Because it needs to be there. I'll give you another for instance of what I mean. Budweiser. Obviously, what would Budweiser do if Budweiser's doing an ad? Well, they own the beer market. They're the biggest beer brand worldwide. This is America. But they own the beer market. So what did Budweiser do? Market growth or market share? Growth, you must do. You own the beer market. Okay, so who are they talking to? They're talking to trialists or current users? Well, they're the biggest, they've got to be talking to current users. They're the biggest beer brand, and all they want you to do is buy more of it. And they don't have anything particularly different to say. There's no gimmick reason like artisanal beer why you should buy it. Why you buy beer is for fun. That's the reason for buying fun, to have laughs with your mates. So what they're selling is market growth, current users, brand. So they did this ad.
Able to pick up good yardage on the play. You know, the best part of this defense is their defensive line and their interior
Hello?
linebacker.
Hey, who? What's up? Nothing, B. Just watching the game, having a bud. What's up with you? Nothing. Watching the game, having a bud. True. True. What's up? What's up? Yo, who's that? Yo, pick up the phone. Hello? What's that? What's up?
Yo, where's Dookie?
Yo, Duke. Yo.
What's that?
What's that?
Hold on. Hello?
So what's up, B? Watching the game, having a bud. True.
Okay, so you see how your strategy, market growth, current users, brand, results in a really powerful ad that went viral. Because you know simply what your strategy is and what you're doing, and that comes out in the ad. It's really clear. You haven't got acres of waffle about talking to everybody on the planet, saying everything there is to everybody on the planet. Strategy is sacrifice. You've simplified it down to one tennis ball. What's going to work? And you end up with really powerful communication. Let's have a look at another one. Supposing you're launching a bank in a couple of states in America. Small bank, and the only thing you've got to say is you do have a product benefit over the main bank. So now you're launching it, so a launch, it's going to be market share, always, right? Market share and trialists, because it's launched, so there won't be any current users. So that's pretty much a given, market share, trialists. And in this case, you do have something better to say. you give the clients more. So that's market share, trialists, product. So, and the one thing you know, the one insight is everybody hates banks because banks rip everybody off. So that's your starting point. And the communication that must come back is we're looking for market share here to take share away from main banks who rip people off. Trialists, you should try our bank, and we need you to know our product benefit. Do you want to play number 6, please?
Next, please.
Hi, I just want to make a deposit.
Okay, 1 second. Put it in the bag. Put it in the bag. A little help here.
Everybody, stay calm. This is a robbery.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
How you done with that?
Hi.
Carol, how are you?
Fine.
That's nice. Next. How can I help you?
So you see we're clarity in, clarity out. That's all this is, clarity in, clarity out. Market share, trialists, product. Snickers. Snickers wanted to launch a new chocolate cup, peanut butter cup, to compete with who owns the market is Reese's peanut butter cups. So if Snickers, who owns the market, who must Snickers, and it's a launch, they must be doing market share, right, to compete with them. And if they're doing market share and it's a launch, again, it must be trialists, can't be current users. And as it's a new product, it's no good going on brand, you must be going on product. What makes our product different? So what needs to go in your communication is market share, trialists, product. And that better come out the ad. That's what's got to go in. That's what goes in the brief. That's what's got to come out the ad. So have a look. Can you play number 7, please?
Okay, so which one tasted better?
Steve.
Yeah, the guy.
With Lisa, I only tasted peanut butter and chocolate.
Lisa had just eaten a peanut butter cup.
But with Steve, I tasted something more. It was peanut butter and Snickers.
Peanut butter
You're
and
right.
Snickers. Yeah, that's
Steve had just eaten Snickers peanut butter squared.
Steve was delicious.
Yeah. I'd love another taste.
Oh, certainly.
Eat both squares, please.
If you like peanut butter and chocolate, you'll love peanut butter and Snickers. Try new Snickers peanut butter squared.
Okay, so yesterday was all about, obviously, why you need to do great ads and why they need to be different and why they need to be unusual. So obviously, I'm taking for granted. We know you're going to do original creative, but today's all about communication. What needs to be in that original creative. It's not just enough to be wild and wacky. That's what gets you noticed. But once you're wild and wacky, what's the message you take away? And you can see the message you take away is market share, trialist, product. From that, we know it's Snickers, and we know what makes it different to the market guy who owns the market, yeah? If we keep it simple, if planners reduce it to this, creatives can understand it, and when the work comes back, however wild and wacky it is, it better have this message in it, yeah? So, another one I like is E-Trade. They were launching in America electronic online trading, which was a new thing. It's a few years back now. And if you're launching electronic online stock trading, again, it's launch, so it's going to be market share. It's going to be trialists because it's launch. And really all you've got to say is we make you a load of money. That's all you're ever saying about stock market trading. We make you a load of money. So it's brand. Market share, trade, brand. So you need a really funny gimmick. Something people will remember. Something will get into the language. But the communication that comes out has to be, we want you to switch from the regular old way of trading, market share. We want you to try our new way of trading, trialists. And this is the brand. And by getting into the language with a funny commercial, we'll go viral and we'll get extra media. Do you want to play number 8, please?
What do we have? AP, 120 over 60.
Is he on any medication?
None. Doctor, I think you should see this.
How much?
Well, what is it?
He's got money coming out the wazoo.
What do we have?
Money out the wazoo.
Move this man to a private room.
Out of the way, this man's got money coming out the wazoo.
Does your husband have insurance?
Insurance? He's got money coming out of the wazoo.
Oh.
It's time for E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online.
Now, that's a great line, money coming out the wazoo. Yeah? And you can see how that gets into the language, and that's with E-Trade, you'll have money coming out the wazoo. Yeah? So you haven't just got a wild and wacky funny commercial, you've got a really solid, simple strategy behind that anybody can understand, because you reduced it down to a simple thing you're saying. Market share, trading, brand goes in. Market share, trading, brand, money coming out the wazoo. You know why you're doing money coming out the wazoo. You know why you're being wild and wacky. You're not just doing it for tricksy entertainment. You're doing it for logical, hard business reasons to make your money work harder amongst your audience, yeah? So the next 3 commercials is oil filters in California. And in California, mainly who buys oil filters are young men working on their cars. And in California is where young men do work on their cars a lot. And what they've got to get you to do is trade up from the regular oil filters that you're using to these particular oil filters, change up to these other oil filters. And so it's going to be market share, it's going to be trialists, and it's actually just going to be brand, because they've got to cut through whatever you're currently doing is just going down to the shops and buying an oil filter. And they've got to make you buy this oil filter. And what's really smart is they've noticed that the brand name alone, you may or may not remember that, but what's really smart is they've spotted this is the only oil filter in an orange box, which most people wouldn't think anything of. But they've actually used that because even if you don't remember the name, they've got a strap line which makes you remember the orange box. So can you play 9, 10 and 11, please?
Can I help you?
No, but I can help you.
You spend all kinds of money to blast music louder than you can think, but you can't pony up for a quality oil filter? Your engine will thank me. Now you get back to your robot music.
They're not robots, they're Swedish.
Fram, filter out the nonsense.
It's the orange one, numbnuts.
What do you think you're doing?
Changing my oil?
You wouldn't cook a prime rib in a microwave, would you?
Actually, I'm a vegan, but I see your point.
Much better. What's this?
It's to make my car smell good.
Cars smell good the way they are. Service!
Fram, filter out the nonsense.
It's the orange one, numbnuts.
Yeah.
You made a good choice back there.
Well, let me know if you ever need help with your car. Happy to.
Don't push it.
Oh, ow, that's actually kind of hurting.
Fram, filter out the nonsense.
It's the orange one, numbnuts.
See, what I love is even if you don't remember the name Fram, everybody's going to remember it's the orange one, numbnuts. You know that's going to get into the language. It's the orange one, numbnuts. And when you're in the shop, you don't even have to remember the name Fram. You look along the gondola, and it's the orange one, numbnuts. Yeah? That's that's market share, trialist, branding. Yeah? You can do the wackiest commercials you like, but as long as you've got a really hard, solid, logical communication inside it, like a framework inside it, you can be as wild as you like in order to get seen and noticed, but you won't just be wasting your money on a pointless exercise. You'll be doing something that actually delivers. So, just a few more to go. Nike wanted to talk to women. Nike wanted to get girls more involved in using their shoes. Now, Nike, of course, owns the market in running shoes. So Nike have to do market growth. They can't be doing market share because they own the market. They need to be doing trial, and they need to be doing product. But not just for shoes. This is to get, what's really clever about this is to get girls involved. You don't talk to the girls, you talk to the parents. And you talk to the parents about why the girls should be involved. You know, all parents will go out and buy running shoes for boys, of course they will. So what but here's an opportunity you haven't thought of. What about your daughters? So market growth, trialists, and product. Why you should buy Nike for your daughters. Can you play number 12, please?
If you let me play.
If you let me play sports.
I will like myself more. I'll have more self-confidence.
If you let me play sports.
If you let me play.
If you let me play.
I will be 60% less likely to get breast cancer.
I will suffer less depression. If you let me play sports.
I will be more likely to leave a man who beats
If you
me.
let me play. I'll be less likely to get pregnant before I want to.
I will learn.
I will learn what it means to be strong.
To be strong.
If you let me play.
Play sports.
If you let me play sports.
Didn't even need to say Nike. All they got is the tick and the logo, and the rest is why girls should play sports. That's market growth. Why girls should play sports, because they own the sports area. Trialists, because currently you're not thinking of that. You tell me a father who doesn't want his daughter, who won't run out after that and buy his daughter a pair of sports shoes, when you realise, I'll be less likely to get pregnant, I'll be less likely to stay with a man who beats me, I'll be more likely to stay in school, I'll be more likely to get a job I love. All for a pair of running shoes? That's why that's product, market growth, trial, product. And they don't even need to care whether or not you get the name Nike out of it, because they own the market. You buy running shoes, sales of running shoes go up, they own the market. Sales of running shoes go up. Most of those running shoes will be Nike because they own the market. So branding is not important if you own the market. Not always, and you can have this discussion. The point is, this isn't a set of rules. This is a basis for a communication discussion. You know? So, two left to go. Geico, they're an insurance company, and they're not an insurance company. They're what do they call it? Where you go online and they check all the insurances and tell you which is the cheapest one. Aggregator. And their line is 15 minutes can save you 15% or more. That's been their line. So pretty much they want you to use them instead of any other way of buying insurance. So they'll be doing market share. So that must be trial, pretty much. And product, because theirs is 15 minutes can save you 15% or more. Now, we're not saying you do product and you'll never ever do trial. Sometimes doing product, you do product and you'll never ever do brand. Sometimes doing product delivers brand. This is a communications brief. You choose one which delivers the other. You don't only do that, which means I must never ever do that. Volkswagen, of 60 years, they've been doing ads about their product. And the brand, if I ask anybody, what's the Volkswagen brand stand for? They'll say reliability. Now, for 60 years, all Volkswagen's ever talked about is their product. But the emotional outtake is reliability. Because you want an emotional outtake, that doesn't mean an emotional input. There's an old saying which is, if you want me to think you're a comedian, don't tell me you're a comedian. Tell me a joke and make me laugh. If you make me laugh, I'll believe you're a comedian. But you tell me a joke, you don't tell me you're a comedian. Stupid people think in order to get an emotional response, I have to give you an emotional input. No, people will always have an emotional response. I may give you a factual input in order to get an emotional response. That's what this is about, working out which will work. I can give you, Nike may well give you a very factual input that's very factual input about girls are less likely to stay with a man who beats them. Girls are less likely to get pregnant before they're ready to. Girls are more likely to stay in school. Those are all facts. But they have a strong emotional output. So facts deliver emotion. So it's not as stupid as most people would have you believe that in order to achieve emotion out, we have to put emotion in. Sometimes facts in, emotion out. And that's the same with any of these. Which one will deliver the effects you want? It doesn't mean I can't have the other one. It means which one more effectively delivers which one you want. This doesn't happen in 2 minutes. This is a whole day's discussion, this chart. Sometimes this on its own is a whole day's discussion. We used to have this on every brief. GGT was the best agency I ever made, and we had this on every brief. At the back of every brief, the planner would have to mark off which of these 3 we were doing. So when you've done your 6 pages of brief, whatever it was, for the creatives, which 3 are we doing? We'd have this chart printed and stuck on every brief, and the planner would cross that off as the communications brief. That's not the marketing brief, that's the communications brief. So, I was talking about, did I show you Geico or not? Okay, Geico are doing market share, they're doing trial, and 15 minutes can save you 15% or more. And obviously after a while, that message, you're going to need to refresh it. So this is a way they refreshed it by going viral. And then this ad went viral in a really big way. Do you want to show number 13, please?
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico? I'd say happier than a camel on Wednesday.
Hump day!
Get happy. Get Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Well, what's good about that for going viral is Wednesday they consider hump day in the States, which means it's halfway through the week's half, you're over the hump. So every Wednesday, you know, everybody repeats that ad, everybody sends that via email to each other, or messenger, hump day, that gets into the language. And you got so much free media from that. And all by keeping it dead simple, your dead simple message, market share, trial, product which also delivers brand. It doesn't mean you can only do one or the other, it's which message will deliver both. Yeah? So, final one, this is Barbie. Barbie, the little toy, what do you call it, doll? Barbie the little doll. You can imagine in the modern day, Barbie is getting outdated and dull, and with the modern sort of feminist approach to everything and the Me Too movement and everything, Barbie is seen as something you don't buy girls and you don't let girls play with, because it will make girls all feminine and weedy and old-fashioned and what you don't want. So how do the people who make Barbie handle that problem? So what they do is they have a look at, well, they certainly own the market for these kind of dolls, so it's market growth. And they're talking to pretty much people who had these dolls when they were little, and they'd love it to buy it for their daughters if only they could justify it. So market growth, current users, and brand. There's nothing special about the product of Barbie, so market growth, current users, brand. You could argue it differently. You could say market growth, trialist product, But the interesting thing here is what you're uncovering about your thinking by forcing yourself to go through this discipline. So it looks to me like they went through market growth, current users, brand, but you could say they went through market growth, trialist, product. Either way, they came up with a really good strategy, a really good execution for something which you might think was outdated and not valid anymore. Have a look at this.
Hello, my name is Gwyneth, and I'll be your professor today. And I will be talking about the brain. Hello, I'm your veterinarian today.
Kitty.
Nope, I'm Dr. Brooklyn. See?
Okay, doctor.
Oh, here, let me see. Good morning, everyone. I'm your new coach. My name is Maddie. Nice to meet you. I had the most fantastic day in the office. You'll never believe what happened. We got that new business I wanted. Have you ever seen him fly?
Have you seen what?
Fly?
No.
My cat can fly.
Okay.
The dog's brain can't think as much as the human's brain because there's no high school for the dog. This is Peter, the Triceratops. Peter is 1 year old. The T-Rex, Sally, is 1,002,252 years old. Knees up like a unicorn. Higher, higher. I've been to New York, Transylvania, Pennsylvania. We can think and do lots of stuff with our brain. Now, does anybody know how big the brain is? Anybody? Sophia. It is medium. Medium. Very good.
Okay, so that's a really creative take on something that you would have thought you couldn't save, and you can see how you can make it more relevant than ever by breaking it down into a simple communication. And all this is just a simple way for the planners to be forced to have a conversation which breaks their complicated language down, and strategy is sacrifice, forces them to give up a lot of stuff to get down to very, very simple basic points in order to hand it on to the creatives who are going to have to do ads that work with cab drivers, bus drivers, housewives and shop assistants who only use very, very simple basic points. So that's all this was about, simple creativity. And if you don't have any questions, that's that.